we put this on VT station.
Sculptor Arzan Khambatta freezes Amitabh Bachchan. What was that all about? Fine art of balancing has been mastered by you. Does it pain your heart to see bird poop on public art?
Or poop is everywhere, and that's very bad. That's one of the most difficult questions to answer.
If you could redesign one famous building, which one would it be?
Our Air India building. That needs a little...
more than a little. But yeah, such an iconic landmark, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to InControversial, where we delve into the journeys of remarkable individuals who challenge norms and inspire change. I'm Pooja Chaudhary, and today we have with us a visionary who transforms discarded metal scrap into captivating art, an architect by training and a sculptor by passion. His works are iconic city landmarks. Please join me in welcoming the ingenious Arzan Khambatta. Hi Arzan, thanks for being on the show.
Most welcome.
People call you the Iron Man of India, the master of metal. But before all of this, who was the young Arzan?
I think someone who was always interested in art and didn't want to do anything but keep on drawing and doing that stuff, and with very little knowledge of taking in reading material and all that. You know, so I was terrible in school. Every textbook, every notebook of mine had only drawings and sketches, caricatures of teachers, okay, furniture and things which were distorted. Like if I would hate a professor, I would draw him without the head and all that stuff. And even in my maths paper, I remember once I answered one answer and then the rest of them I didn't know. So I drew myself hung on a noose like that.
Oh my God!
So it was always through the visual medium. That was very, very sure right from the beginning.
Did that mean also you were most often seen outside of the classroom being punished?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And they say, one of those outstanding students, literally like that. And then I would sit out and draw again.
Oh wow!
So it was that much craze in me, just to keep on doing stuff. In the art class, my art teacher would get very annoyed with me because I would not follow what he said. I would do exactly what I want to.
Your creativity would also take him in, right? Your imagination and...
Yes, but then they had to be open to that sort of a thing at that time, and he hated it. He wanted me to do exactly what he wanted, which I didn't want. So he would also take me to the principal besides the other teachers. So I was at one point of time, the principal said, now you all deal with him, don't get him to my...
Figure it out.
My parents said, you all deal with him, don't complain to me. So I was left alone to do whatever the hell I wanted.
Conformity wasn't something clearly that you were willing to go with, but you went on to study architecture. But was there a specific moment that made you shift from designing spaces and buildings into working with metal?
So I'll tell you a very interesting story, and I'll give you a little I started sculpture before I joined architecture.
Okay.
Way before. So I started sculpture when I was in school.
All right.
And soon as my 10th standard got over, I would go to scrapyards, construction sites, pick up metal, collect it, and then find out as to who would help me weld it. But I'll go a little before that. So after 10th, parents always want to send you off on summer classes to get you out of the way.
Right.
So myself, my two sisters and one other friend, parents got hold of an art teacher called Anand Mohan Naik. Okay. Now he started to teach us papier mâché and stuff like that and all that. But what was interesting was he didn't have a space. So he took us to a studio of a sculptor called Mr. Adi Davirwala.
Okay.
And Mr. Adi Davirwala in today's art world is a big, big name. One of those people who got good fame, but not as much as he's getting now.
Okay.
Now, he had passed away at that time.
All right.
The studio was empty. I stepped into the studio. There was incomplete metal sculptures there. The smell of welding was still there. There was a wooden block which was half carved with the shavings and the sawdust just like that, his chisels just like that.
All just lying like that.
There were blackboard sketches which were left half. There was a reading chair with a light and a book open. And as I told you right now, my hair stands up. I saw that and I think that was the moment when I decided I wanted to do only this. It looked as if literally someone had left something incomplete and I had to pick it up from there and start out.
Wow.
And after that I went berserk with the metal, just collected, kept on welding, and that's how the journey started.
How fascinating. And there's such beautiful artworks that you've created, and like I said, they are also city landscapes today, but there is this perception in India that art isn't as widely understood and appreciated as it should be. Even it's not part of our education system. We don't encourage children to pick up art. What do you think about that?
Completely. So I not only do work myself, I teach, I lecture at colleges and all that. Recently, I had the opportunity to go to Dharampur,
Okay.
where I was taking to an Adivasi school. There's institution there who's working for the Adivasis. They've literally been just left by the government. No one does anything for them. So there's this group of people who have built schools for them, hospitals for them and things like that. I went there, no art curriculum, zero.
Oh.
And we said we have to do something. So I took an impromptu class over there. I said, I'm here for the whole day, let's take an impromptu class. Then we decided that let's give them an opportunity to display their work and see what they come up with. 21st of this month, we are planning to do an opening of their art.
Okay.
They keep sending me their sketches and their drawings. I am blown by the level.
Wow.
What work they've done, it just shows that if given a little opportunity, it sort of can create magic.
Right.
And I've been teaching students since a very long time. Believe me, the NGO children, Akanksha, Asima, Teach for India, all that lower grade, from your streets, they are far better, far eager learners than any of the bigger schools I've taken. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal.
I'm not surprised, and yet I am, because clearly there is a hunger, there is a
Correct.
drive, there is a fertile imagination. Us urban kids, we are so consumed with gadgets.
Yes.
Where do we even allow our
Correct.
minds
True.
to think and breathe, right? But
True.
you know, your artworks are public displays of art. You know, at iconic city landscapes. How does a city's energy help give shape to something that you have in mind? How does that whole process happen?
I think number one, first of all, bumping back to your first question, that art is not as much appreciated here.
Yeah.
The idea of design, art is growing, definitely.
Yes,
From what
of
it was 20 years back, definitely is growing.
Correct.
You can make out just by the level of artworks in galleries and also by the level of the architectural elements that you find.
Yes.
In terms of your windows, taps, furniture and all that. Definitely the understanding of design is growing, but we are still not out there. Number one, design is taken very lightly here. When you are called by a client and you give a sketch, to him it is nothing. He's saying, what have you done in 2 minutes? But it's like a doctor giving a prescription.
Yeah.
It's years of that which he is able to sort of diagnose you
Just
in
scroll
3
and
minutes and
yeah.
literally write it down. So that is what it is.
Yeah.
That is not appreciated as yet. So we are still a little far away, but it's growing in the right direction. Okay, fine. So that's good. Another thing, I think the city inspires you to put art because right now it is devoid of art. Okay. Completely devoid of contemporary art. The first piece of contemporary art, if I can think about, was Pilu Pochkhanawala's park on Haji Ali Island, right in the center.
Yes.
And at that time, imagine people walking on the streets, taking trains to go, buses to go to work. They would see that and say, what the hell is this? You know, I mean, this, how can they even think of it as art if they've not seen any contemporary art, you know?
Yeah.
So that was ruined.
Yes.
The people were using it to dry their clothes on it and all that. I saw it myself. Finally, it fell down. Then the island was destroyed. So it's gone.
Yeah.
But then the other one was the rhino, which I did for RPG at Nariman Point. That was the other contemporary sculpture that came about.
Yeah.
And you see, we need to put these out in the open for people to see it. Whether they like it or not or appreciate is secondary. They should at least know that there is something called contemporary art.
Correct.
Because they don't step into galleries. You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
But then the art out in the open has to be mature in a way that people see it and react to it in one way or the other.
Yeah, at least have conversations around it. Question, ye kya hai? Matlab kyun kiya hai? Whatever.
True.
Yeah.
Like there was once we did a collaborative work between myself, Brinda and Sunil Padwal. And we did this huge thing made out of mouse traps.
Okay.
And Sunil had clicked photographs and put photographs inside. And we had spoken to some NGO kids who had written what their dreams were about and put it inside, you know. And we put this on VT CS station.
Yeah.
Okay. We put it on the platform.
Okay.
First of all, we got galleys like several because anyway the crowd is so much, saying, what the hell is this?
Right.
But few people stopped.
Okay.
They saw it, they walked through it, they read about it. Now at least they have an idea that this also is art.
Yeah, aise bhi ho
And
sakta
that
hai,
needs
right.
to be projected. You know, it's a very sad thing because I work with corporators and all that, and they insist that what we artists are putting is very elitist and it should not be there and it should be so simple, like probably a hand or a yoga pose that the public can understand. I asked them, what mobile phone do you use? Do you still use the one that was coming out earlier? Do you still use the same Padmini that was there in the... It is because you've not seen art develop that you're still stuck on that old thing.
So true.
It is required that these people see contemporary art continuously to know that people have moved on.
Right.
And we need to move on like they have moved on in everything.
Yes.
Like they want to move on in life with everything they wear, what they carry and all that.
Absolutely.
So why not art?
Yeah, I mean, there's an upgrade to everything.
True.
Newer models
True.
keep coming.
True.
And one just
Correct.
needs to understand the evolution of art.
I was having this talk with this contemporary artist. We go to see movies, we know about stars. We go to plays, we know about theatre artists. We go to fashion shows, we know about the fashion design.
Right.
Hardly any of them step into art galleries.
But
and
why
it's true.
is that?
And
Is it because art has a perception that it's expensive, or art galleries are prohibitive for the common man to enter?
I think basically it's thing about understanding modern art and understanding contemporary art. Number one, I say, why do you want to understand everything? Have a look at things and just give an opinion of your own, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
When you go to a fashion show, you don't understand the whole damn thing. You see it, you visualize it, but you're going there to see it, no?
Correct.
You're going there to see movies. Some movies you don't understand, which I can get, but then also you're going, you have a look, you have an opinion about it. So I say so if you're afraid to step into galleries, and I don't blame them. Some galleries are so elitist that the common man cannot walk in and just look around. He'll be probably stared upon and all that. So that's why I'm saying your open air contemporary art on your traffic islands, outside buildings is very important.
Yeah, even for that matter in malls, there's so many people
Correct.
just mall crawling
Correct.
on weekends.
Correct. True.
If we were to make art more accessible as part of public displays of work.
And Phoenix has done a very good job of
Yes,
that.
of course.
They've got the Dali elephant right now.
Yes.
They've got Valet Shende's work and all that. So that is good. At least they put up some stuff so people react to it,
Right. And I mean, if I was to think back of a few years ago, there was this captivating headline that took everyone by attention when it said that sculptor Arzan Khambatta freezes Amitabh Bachchan. What was that all about?
So I'll tell you a very interesting story. So this is 2003.
Okay.
2003. Okay, I had done a very serious show called Sculpting, where I had only used textures in copper and iron and stuff like that. It took me 1.5 years to make. And it was very, very serious work, So it was, and I'm known for my humor and all that, So the moment I finished that, Pradeep Chandra, the photographer, he approached me saying, Mr. Bachchan's birthday is coming up. And I've taken the photographs I'm printing them on canvas and I'm giving them to artists to do the renditions on it. And we're presenting the whole thing to him. 50, 60 photographs, huge.
Yeah.
And I'll go one step back. MTV approached me to do a sculpture for a show which they titled The Style Icon. Okay. And I couldn't think of anyone but Mr. Bachchan at that time. So then I did his typical pose, his dancing pose with the bell bottoms, and I exaggerated the legs and all that. Yeah. And I did that. Pradeep Chandra came to know of it and he said, why don't you exhibit it in my show? We put it there. Mr. Bachchan went around and you know how he is mobbed. Completely went around the gallery, saw all the photographs and all that. Only sculpture, so it was kept in the center of the room. He didn't even see that. He went through the whole thing and then he went on the dais. I'm saying, oh, bloody hell, I said, I wish he could have seen it. So he's there on top. And then because there was such a crowd, one of the waiters picked it up, literally like this, and was taking it away. He saw it, he said, what is that? He said, get me. He recognized it was him.
Obviously,
so
I mean, that iconic
So
pose.
he got it on stage. I've got photographs of him looking at it like this and this and that. And he said, who made this? So the other sponsor who was there was trying to search for me. I'm waving out from behind. So he called me. You won't believe it. He held my. He just thought he had forgotten that the audience was there. He held my hand. He's saying, "You made this." I said, "Yes." He said, "Have you been doing this since a long time?" So I said, "Yes." So I said, "If you remember, of course, I mean, he meets millions of people."
Right.
So I said, "We met once at the Birla Art Gallery and all that." So he's saying, "You have to give me this." I said, "I can't give it to you. It belongs to MTV." So he's saying, once they're done with it, I want you to contact me and I want this piece. So that's how we
And was that
started.
the first time you were meeting him?
Yes. No, the second time.
Okay.
First time I've actually shot with him when we were school kids.
Okay.
And they wanted people on cycles to accompany him for a movie called Nastic.
Of course.
And I still go back and I see myself cycling behind him.
How lovely.
What a wonderful conversation we had that time also. That time he was at his peak.
Yeah.
Absolutely at his peak. And so this was the second time. And then when I spoke to him and all that, I said, okay, of course, gladly take this piece and all that.
Yeah.
And he bought a couple of pieces from me. He said, I will not take only like this. He said, I'll get a couple of pieces from you. So I just asked him. And another thing, can you imagine something so uncanny? 2003 Birla Art Gallery, my exhibition opened on his birthday, 11th
October.
The next date I got for 2004 from the Jahangir Art Gallery, I have to book it 3 years in advance.
Yes.
Dates are not given.
Correct.
11th October.
My God, it was like meant to be, huh?
Another exhibition, again 11th. I'm saying, what the hell is happening? So I went up to him. I said, sir, I've got a show opening on 11th October. I said, I know you don't go out on your birthday. He's quite private that way.
Of course, yeah.
So I said, if you can come. So he said, I'll open the show for you. And that's how he came to open the show.
Wow.
Because everyone was stunned as to how the hell did he come on his birthday.
On his birthday.
And nothing, no nakara, nothing, on time. He didn't want anything. Kuch bhi nahi. He spoke so well. That's when I did the other piece for him.
How lovely. So it was clearly a collaboration
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
destined.
yeah,
And, you know, from that brush with Bollywood, you've continued to have many more
Yes.
such collabs, if I may say. So the wonderful artwork that you created for John,
Yes,
right? With,
yes.
you know, and how did Shakti come to life?
So John, you know how passionate he is about his bikes and all
Yes.
that. And he understands his bikes thoroughly. It's absolutely not a case of he can afford it, so he's got these bikes.
Yeah.
He knows his bikes and his mechanics inside out.
Wow.
He can open up a full bike and assemble it together, literally. He's got that much of knowledge. So he said these were not parts which were discarded, but parts which he keeps changing. So if a new something comes, I don't know the correct name, on the old one, he will fit that and he'll remove the old parts.
Okay.
So he keeps on upgrading them also. So he put these all out and he's saying, can you do something from this? And I was loving it because it took me back to my scrapture days, you know.
Yeah.
And we saw that. Then he gave me his Nissan GTR exhaust systems and all that. Uncannily, those exhaust systems are handmade.
Wow.
And the welder who makes it signs on it. So they treat it like works of art.
I'm sure.
It's not. It doesn't come from an automotive factory done with robots. They are hand welded. So that fascinated me tremendously. And what was inspiring was his knowledge.
Yeah.
And what he knew about it and how much power that thing gave out. And to me, just the visual power was good enough of those pieces. They were gorgeous. You know, you could just assemble a few and put them on a pedestal without adding anything, and they would be works of art. You know? So then I took it, got them here, started playing around with them. Shakti came out very naturally because it needed something powerful, you know.
Yeah.
And we put it together and it looked like a Ravana to me, but I didn't want to make a Ravana. So we just did something like a transformer, and I said, let's give it a very powerful generic name. So that's why Shakti came about, you know.
And did he like give you just a clean slate and say, figure
complete
it out?
Complete clean slate. I don't even want to see the sketch or anything. He gave me the parts and he saw the piece assembled at his place. That's it.
Wow.
No
And what was
questions
his
asked.
reaction
Nothing.
then
Oh,
when
he was absolutely enthralled.
And where is it installed now in his?
So he's got a garage where he displays his bikes.
Yeah.
And he's changed that into sort of a gallery.
Okay.
So the end wall is black, which I love. And he's kept it against that black
Just the
wall with
perfect
proper
backdrop,
lighting and all that. Superb, you know. I mean, perfect location for him. He was telling me, he's saying, should we sell it? We get donation, we donate to someone. I said, let's do another piece for that. This one I made specially for you, keeping in mind.
Beautiful.
So you keep this. I said, this is you.
That's
you know?
beautiful.
Yeah.
At a very deeply personal level, Arzan, for most of us humans and definitely for high performers, there is that one moment where you realize, okay, you know, I've made it. What was that particular moment or sculpture for you where you realized that, you know, now I'm being recognized, my work is sort of...
I think right from my first show.
How
right
lovely.
from my first show. So it grew. It's
Okay.
never a one point, it grew. So for example, my first sculptures I would make and I would get them home, correct? Dad's an architect, his architect friends would come, they would see it, and of course, being in the art world and all that, knowing stuff, at that point no one puts sculptures in their building projects and all that, you know. But they would comment on it, they would slowly, the word went out, and architect Naushad Talati gave me the first commission sculpture.
Okay.
So that was a big thing.
Okay.
Then 93, after many attempts, Jahangir Art Gallery agreed to give me the gallery to display. So that was another big.
Nice.
So there have been footsteps like this, and I always describe my journey as being very natural. Just yesterday, someone asked me, say, why don't you take your photographs and approach, for example, some big Parsi family name, he said, you know. I said, have they given you work? I said, no. So why don't you go to them? I said, I've never done that. I've never done that because my hands are full. Of course, I can expand more, but I don't want to. I want everything to happen very naturally. Let people come to me for an exhibition, for this, for an inquiry and all that, and then it goes slowly. I've designed stage sets also.
Yeah.
I've done about 3 stage sets for Rahul Dikuna and all those.
okay,
I don't even
interesting.
remember. For Danish Hussaini and all that. You know, so everything goes very naturally. I'm open to everything, and I'm known to be a person who never says no to anything. So it just moves on. Kalagora, the NGOs, the charity organizations, the fundraisers, everything happens at their own time and it moves on. I don't force anything. So there is not one particular landmark. So just to give you an idea, one of the first fundraisers I handled myself for Jai Vakil, 2019.
Okay.
turned out to be such a big success. We sold 100%
Wow.
of the things that we made. 100%. You know, now selling part was not mine. Sorry, I'm very bad at that. That is their. But we made a sculpture, 100 of them. We started with 25. Response was so good, we went to 50, then to 100 and to 110.
Wow.
Artists from all over India and few from outside, settled in Paris and UK and all that, painted on them, and then we sold these pieces.
And it was a complete sellout.
100% sellout.
Beautiful.
Not even one piece left.
But you know, tell me, is there any one piece of sculpture that really tested and challenged you and made you question, is this even possible? Like, what the hell am I doing? What did I start with? And I'm kind of stuck.
Never got stuck.
Okay.
Never got stuck. But what happens is, it's very good you ask this. So many times when you make something and you finished it and you look at it a couple of days later, you literally ask yourself whether it's you who's done it. It happens to me quite some time. You see it and I said, you don't tell it to the world, but you really wonder, how the hell did I get this? And I think it's, once you're in it, extra forces definitely come about. Something or the other happens.
There is a super energy that channels through you.
Happens. So I'll tell you one piece which I did for my 1996 show.
Okay.
Okay. So if you saw it, it was just a vertical stick. Okay. With lots of abstract stuff just flying around. It was about 8 feet tall. You couldn't make head nor tail about it. It's just an abstract. It could have been just that. Okay. It could well have been just that. Then there is a mirror at 45 degrees which I had kept at eye level.
Okay.
And there's a peephole. So when you see through the peephole, you see the whole crucifix on a cross.
Oh,
you know?
beautiful.
Now that was superb to me because people would look and wonder what it is. Then they would see the people, they would look there and suddenly then they would go up as to wonder how the hell did that come about. You know? So that feedback from the audience is superb. So that was one very challenging piece which I made through a peephole.
Okay.
Okay. Keeping in mind that when you close one eye, you lose your depth of vision completely. So everything that is behind there falls into place. So I've done a chariot rider that way with 4 horses.
Oh.
The chariot, the rider himself.
Wow.
Okay. So the horses, just to give you an idea, the first horse is 2 inches. Third one is this much, this much, this much. Because they all look like the same size horses riding together in the chariot.
Right.
You know?
How
so
fascinating.
That's good.
Nice.
Then another challenging one is 3.5 ton hanging sculpture in Pune. So it's an orb of 25 feet diameter and it hangs from the ceiling. So that fitting and the engineering of it was very tricky. And I love my cantilevers. I can cantilever
almost anything. It's like the fine art of balancing has been mastered by you. And you know, unlike paintings or digital art, sculptures sort of exist in a physical space for decades.
Yes.
As an artist, does it ever bother you that your works will outlive you, and does that weigh on you when you're creating?
No, I would say that's better.
Of course it is. I mean, you know, your work
But I'm very happy that they would last and all that. You know, I mean, you don't want to see a work crumbling in front of you unless it's like sand art or something like that.
But tell me, you talked about work crumbling in front of you. Does it pain your heart to see bird poop on public art?
Oh, yes. It's everywhere.
I
Bird
know.
poop is everywhere, and that's very bad. I mean, your European cities, so many of them, so many of the Indian monuments also now using the net to cover up all that. But
yes, but how do you put that on a piece of public art, right? On the landmark, I mean, on the traffic junctions and whatever.
But I've had worse.
Which is?
When the Rhino was shifted to the Seat, outside the Seat factory, somewhere in Mulund, somewhere in the suburbs, bird poop I could have tolerated, but these were posters stuck by the politicians on the Rhino directly, which was
classic
terrible.
Bombay ugliness.
That was bad. Birds I don't blame.
And I see there's a lot of creativity and of course science behind everything that you're creating, but what is your source of inspiration when you begin to create something? I
think that's one of the most difficult questions to answer. It is everything around you. It is everything around you. It's this talk I'm having with you right now. It is my drive from home to here. It is my walk in the evening. It is when I'm traveling. It is when I'm walking through the streets of Bombay sometimes, the noise, what you see out there, the Hadgariwala, everything, the dogs, the chaos of the city.
I mean, I can see in your workshop where we are sitting right now, it is of course very cluttered, but it's an artist's workshop. But you've made the most mundane pieces of scrap and, you know, like a chip of the keyboard. And everything looks so artistic in an artist's workshop.
Outside my door, there's enter. From the keyboard is written, they enter.
There you go. So I think it's, I mean, there's creativity everywhere. But also, I guess, you would absorb from
every
things around
anything
you.
and everything. What you see on Netflix or anything, you can never pinpoint where this has come from.
Yeah.
And that's why I pity the art generation, the new art generation, because they've got Pinterest, they've got everything at hand.
Yeah.
If I had to research on something, I had to go to the British Library, find out the book, one little image here, one little something there, gather it, collate it, and then sort of, come up with something. If you had to do a reference work on something, know. But now it's like in seconds, in front of you.
You
become
say
very
it's
easy.
in seconds, but does it ever worry you or bother you that, today's AI world, AI art will take over and make some of us genius artists and sculptors redundant? Like,
I think I compare it to your hand embroidery versus machine embroidery. You know? Like what comes out from the machine is that, but when you see the local karigars working meticulously step by step by step, there'll always be people to appreciate that and not that.
Yeah, there's a certain romance to handmade stuff, right?
Of course, always.
But then, again, speaking of the generation today, with all the technology and information on their hands, how do we get them to go out there and explore, to, use their mind?
Correct.
Somehow I think our school systems don't allow for that.
I agree. So I've been talking about this since a long time.
Yeah.
In one of the TED Talks I gave and all that, I said, use your phone. Even I use my phone. I also go on Instagram.
Yes.
But don't make it like the main part of your day.
Right.
Like I know for a fact that when we are going for a drive, the children in the car and they're looking in the phone, I say, look outside. What is there to look outside? There's nothing. But that is lost. They want some drama in everything.
Something to do, something to catch their attention.
So this is, I keep telling them, the same size of your phone, carry a little notebook. Just write down one word, one sentence, scribble something. So at least you have your hand moving. There's some motor movement happening. There's, there's something happening where you're taking in the outside.
Us school kids, when we began to write with pencils and then the shift to ink pen and then the shift to the ball pen, that in itself was a learning, right? A lot of us either improved our handwritings or made it worse. I think these guys don't even know how to hold a pen, perhaps.
It's terrible. So that is required. But so yesterday I met someone from an architecture college who said now they're directly starting off on CAD. I said that's terrible, because we used to use the rotarings, we used to use the pencil. We were even taught how to draw a line with a pencil so that the thickness of the line starting from here remains the same at the end, because you twirl the pencil.
Oh.
So there's so much magic in it, no? There's so much, instead of just doing a line and saying copy 100 times and the damn thing just comes in, it's useless to me. So that's what my pen and inks are about, the show that I'm having right now. It's meticulous ink work. Every stroke being done by me, no one else has touched it or anything. So like I started my sculpture for the first 12 years, did everything on my own. Then the sizes grew. That's why I had the manpower to just lift them, to weld them. Now I've mastered what I can do and spend my time on, and what is the very laborious part which they can just continue with. You know? So that is lost. The schools need to actually train them to use the hand, to use their eyes, and sort of, pick out something and observe the world more
and
than look at
skills,
screens.
bring them to life, sort of. And you talked about your show, and you mentioned that it's 18 years of drawings, and for the first time that you're showing your drawings. So where did this sort of come about from? You've been drawing all along and we never knew about it?
Correct. Drawing along, even like I said, even on school books. Even on school books. Everywhere
doodling,
I've been drawing.
Was it doodling or drawing?
Doodling, drawing, figures, caricatures of my professors, everything.
Headless caricatures, if I may say so.
Everything. Weapons. I remember going to Salarjung Museum and I'd come back from the holiday and all that was there in my mind. I was drawing all the weapons and all that. Someone thought I was very violent, So all that was happening. Then what happened was then the later part of the pen and inks happened when I used to sit inside the cabin. I used to work outside. It's very hot. Right now, we're in a slightly better climate. When it's summer, you should see what is outside. So when the gas torches are on, when the grinders are on, it becomes a little
It would be like a furnace,
daunting.
right?
Yeah. I love doing that once upon a time. I want to move a little away from it, So that's okay. So when I sit inside and I almost soundproof this place and have my soft music and I pick up a pen and till the criteria is till the pen touches the paper, you should not plan anything. So once the pen touches the paper, then you draw. Whether it is squares or lines or circles or whatever. And then you develop. You do a little, you see what it's telling you, and then you add a little more. And then you take another paper and you start off that. I don't complete one full one and go to the next one. Because even in sculptures, I find my mind races. You know?
It's always sort of work in progress.
Always. So it has to be tuck, 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 and then I sit and complete.
Nice.
So when I decided on the date and I started pulling off pieces that I had 120 drawings ready, almost semi-ready. Then I completed them and all that, you know.
You know, you talked about your drawings, and I was going to say that at any given point in time, you would be having multiple works in progress, right?
Always, always. Because I always keep on saying my mind works too fast. It's jumping, you know, from one to the other to the other. And so concentrating only on one thing is a little difficult, you know. So there's multiple things. And don't forget, besides sculpture, there's, I have, like for example, this podcast. Now, I knew this was happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there is, yesterday I did a talk with the Indus Group women at the gallery.
Okay.
Okay. Now, 5 days from now, Dharampur, we have to set up the drawings and all that. So there's
The
so
tribal
many,
exhibition that you were talking about.
So many things I'm doing besides sculpture itself. So it's always racing. So 2 days before the show, I didn't get any sleep. So someone asked me, are you worried? I said, I'm not worried at all. It's just the excitement.
Was that because it's a show after 6 years?
No, nothing like that. Just because of the excitement of putting it up, you know. Not worried at all. What would it turn out? All that is not there at all. I'm not bothered about that. It's just putting it up and experiencing the whole thing in one shot, you know.
Yeah, lovely. And, you know, we'll have some quick rapid fire questions. You've been absolutely fabulous so far, but... Your favorite tool in the workshop?
The welding machine.
Nice.
Yes.
And one artist, living or dead, you'd love to collaborate with?
Dali. Salvador Dali.
Okay, I went to his museum in Spain and it was fascinating.
In where? In
Figueras.
Figueras. I've been there.
Beautiful it was. I mean, I did get back some...
Have you seen his book called Dali's Mustache?
Yes, yes. And even the whole audio visual that they show you in the museum. The most challenging sculpture you've ever created?
Most of them. So I can't point more. And the more challenging it is, the more I love it.
It just gets your creative juices.
Yeah. Like sometimes when I am doing things outside, my men say, sir, this is very difficult. So as if it wasn't difficult, it would have gone to a fabricator. You know? It's here because it's difficult.
Nice.
So every piece is a new challenge. You know, I can't point out one actually.
And where do you go when you need creative inspiration? Do you want to just... Lovely, lovely. Work is worship, as they say. If you could redesign one famous building, which one would it be?
Famous building. Our Air India building. That needs a little...
more than a little. But yeah, such an iconic landmark, right?
Yeah.
The one thing about art world that annoys you, Arzan?
People who portray themselves more than what they are. You know?
Like in a very stiff, serious way?
Who pretend to be artists when they're not.
Okay.
That's what I would call it.
You just want them to be normal, cash, like just pipe it down.
That is gone.
So
sometimes
well said.
I go to some openings and I feel like an outcast sometimes. I see what they're wearing and all that. I'm sure, bloody hell. Sorry.
Any hidden talent that would surprise us, if not a sculpture?
Yes,
what?
I unicycle.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. And if you had to describe your art in one word, what would it be?
Contemporary for sure and innovative, I would say.
Definitely more than innovative. Speaking of which, have you trademarked or registered the word scraptures?
No.
I think you should, right? Yeah. You pretty much coined a new word and I think you should definitely own it. You know, Arzan, it's been so fascinating, your journey, your workshop, your works. But looking back, was there that one single defining moment that shaped you as an artist?
I think when I stepped into Mr. Adi Ravewala's sculpture studio, that was one.
The energy of the place just sort of took you in.
And it carried on. He was no more, like I said.
You mentioned,
Never met him.
Yeah.
But when his wife and his daughter knew I was doing this and they saw how I was progressing, I've got each and every tool of his. I've got each and every book of his workbench.
Wow.
Some of his art materials, everything I've got. Most of the tools you see here are his. And his photograph is there, up there, out there.
Wow.
And now I'm so happy he's getting the recognition that he deserves in Christie's and international auctions. His pieces are doing extremely well.
Lovely. And are you in touch with the family?
Yes, I am. Yes.
That's so beautiful. Yes. Clearly it was a match meant to be. You were meant to step into that workshop. And, you know, I mean, as we conclude, if there was that, if someone was to summarize your artistic journey into a sculpture, what would it look like, you think?
I would title it The Impossible Just Takes a Little Longer.
And what would it...
So I imagine a large orb or a large weight and a little man pushing it. You know? So that's...
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Arzan, for such a fun and insightful conversation. So fascinating, your journey, and I wish more and more people, young budding artists, school kids take inspiration from this. We'd love to see the world of art grow. It's so fascinating and clearly so many stories that one can learn from. Loved hearing all about your journey, your art, and the stories behind it. Can't wait to see what you create next.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being on InControversial.
Thank you. Thank you.